Yo guys, and welcome back to another patch 7.3 PTR video, and in today's video we are going to be covering the events that take place revolving around the Army of the Light on Argus. Now I do have to warn you that this video will contain spoilers and footage featuring the patch and everything related to Argus, so if you don't want to see any of this until it actually hits the live client, now might be the time to hop on off this video. Also guys, before we do get started, I just want to give a really quick mention to this awesome website named Gamers Delivery, which offers up a ton of cool World of Warcraft merchandise for grabs, such as the World of Warcraft vinyl clock, which is available in various styles such as a Warlords of Draenor specific themed one, or even a For the Horde themed one. If you are interested in seeing what they do have available, the link to the website will be provided in the description of this video, but for now let's go ahead and continue on with the story. Alright guys, so this story will feature the events that take place directly following my disconnect on the bridge leading to the Shattered Fields. In the video, we have allies on Argus. The link will be provided below also if you guys want to see the entire quest chain leading up until this point. But basically what happens up until the disconnect in the end of the previous video is that we left off with Turalyon leading us through a hidden passageway where we rendezvous with the remaining forces of the Army of the Light, who have established a defensive foothold in order to stave off invading demons from breaching their ship, which has ultimately crash landed, the Xenadar. When we arrive at the outpost, we are told three things. First off, we have to gather supplies from the Xenadar, which was scattered amongst the fields during the initial crash, and also we have to destroy the Legion's soul coffers, which is currently at this very point in time draining the life from the fallen soldiers of the Army of the Light and fueling the Legion's war effort. And finally, the third thing that we have to do is simply kill 20 Legion minions, because after all, you are on a Legion homeworld. Something you want to do is pretty much kind of thin down their numbers. So once you accomplish all of these tasks, you meet up with another officer by the name of Archmage Xe'ra, who tells you that our forces are being swarmed by fell bats. So at this point we gotta take him out, and we have to deal with these bats by hopping in one of the Army of the Lights' artillery cannons, and we start blasting the bats out of the sky, which is pretty cool. But dude, I seriously hope that these things are fixed when they hit the live client, because if you look at this right here, you cannot see jack shite. If this was what the defensive cannons look like from the inside of the Xenadar, then no wonder they got blasted down, because the people manning the guns probably didn't even know that they arrived on Argus and were under attack, since their vision is completely obscured. But anyway, we take down the bats and meet up with a long shot by the name of Barat, who states that he was on a mission to recover one of the Xenadar's most powerful weapons, Light's Judgment. However, they are facing way too much pressure on the way there to even consider venturing forth any further, so instead he sends you to go for the weapon while he stands his ground, and you have to activate its recall, which will teleport it to the Vindicar, which is the ship that we arrived in. So after fighting waves of demons, we managed to trigger the recall on the weapon, which teleports it to the Vindicar, and after Ramul tinkers with it, the weapon is now under our control. So Ramul then tells us to use the weapon to clear the debris blocking the entrance to the Xenadar, so that you, with the help of Turalyon and Illyria, can enter the ship and rescue the Prime Naaru, Xe'ra. So a quick recap by the way guys, if you don't remember who Xe'ra is, or you don't know who she is, Xe'ra is the Naaru that speaks to us during the questline where we recall Illidan's past memories, and she's also the Naaru from which Light's heart is derived from. That is her core. It also is not confirmed as of yet, but it's possible that she is also the Naaru that was responsible for giving Illidan the vision of him fighting alongside the Army of the Light back in the Burning Crusade in the Illidan novel. And we can assume this because, as she says in game, she believes that Illidan is the child of light and shadow, and who will ultimately play a crucial part in bringing about the Legion's demise. So the Elder Naaru from that novel and Xe'ra herself, they pretty much have the same mentality when it comes to believing that Illidan does play a crucial part for the Army of the Light. But as for now, we can't make any confirmations, but we can use what information we have available to us to get a pretty good assumption and estimation. After using Light's Judgment to clear the rubble at the foot of the ship, we, Illyria, and Turalyon venture into the vessel, where, guys, for once, we are not too late. We are not too late. We arrived just in time. Xe'ra is alive, and my goodness, her model is just beautiful. And while recording this, I heard nothing but the chimes and ambience of the Naaru, which was honestly, it was really relaxing and honestly just amazing, and it felt really peaceful while I was there just recording. And then players started arriving and running into my shots as I tried to record. Some dude kept jumping up and down right in front of my camera. It pissed me the hell off, and the feeling of peace and tranquility completely vanished. But anyway, once we arrive, Turalyon assures Xe'ra that she is in safe hands, and we start placing teleportation crystals around her in order to teleport her safely to the Vindicar. After doing this, Turalyon was thrilled after seeing that the Prime Naaru is in fact safe and within friendly hands, and he tells us that there's a lot of important stuff that needs to be covered and discussed, and that Xe'ra herself will personally go into the details about these said matters. So we return to the Vindicar, speak to Xe'ra, and together we bolster our armies, our resolves. We now have Illidan, Xe'ra, and the Light's Heart all together, all safe, all protected. Xe'ra is completely at full strength, and the tide of the war really looks like it's going to be in our favor. Guys, I wish it ended like this. I really wish it did, because, well, what actually happens when you return to the Zenithar is that a cutscene takes place, and a cutscene at this time, it doesn't really bode too well. And if you guys were wondering, there's not actually anything shown during the cutscene in the PTR because it's not available yet. It's just skipped. But what follows after is pretty just sad and disappointing. The Legion somehow infiltrated the Vindicar or something along the lines of this, and they managed to assassinate Xe'ra. When we speak to Velen following the event, we see him holding a swirl of light in his hand, a final gift from Xe'ra even in the moment of her demise. Despite the terrible loss though, Velen keeps his head held high and states that even though Xe'ra's form is destroyed, the light has not abandoned us. Not yet. He then gives us the swirlies and tells us that it is time to truly fight with the power of the light watching over us. We deliver the swirling essence of the light to the Netherlight Crucible on the Vindicar, which if I had to guess, this probably has to do with something in the future about infusing the light into our weapons, something along the lines of this. And when we return back into the bridge of the ship, Turalyon tells us that even though the loss of Xe'ra is devastating, the war is not yet over. As a matter of fact, Magni Bronzebeard had just made contact with Turalyon while we were infusing the light into the Netherlight Crucible, and Magni tells him that he believes he discovered something that could tip the scales of the war into our favor. But to keep this video from dragging on too long, because that will probably make this video pretty damn long, we are going to save that for another video. But don't worry, because it will be the next video that I'm going to put out, or at least I think. So guys, tell me what you thought below. Were you sad? Were you excited? Or did you think it was badass that even though Xe'ra was under our protection, the Burning Legion still found a way to infiltrate our defenses? Again, the cutscene isn't available, so you don't really know how she dies, but if I had to guess, I would say that the Legion somehow infiltrated the Zenithar while Xe'ra was still there before we got there and teleported her out, because what I found kind of fishy was how Xe'ra wasn't speaking the moment that Turalyon came or the moment that we arrived. That kind of flashes a red flag, but maybe, you know, she was too weak to speak at the time. So, you know, there's a lot of variables that could play a role into it, but we can't confirm anything at the moment. Anyways, guys, the next PTR video will be out in a few days or so keep your eyes open for that. But before we conclude this video, I just want to give a special mention to those of you patrons who help make doing what I do actually possible. So, Melissa, Jacob Hines, and KCollects52, thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you guys, all of you, for your support for watching this video. And until next time, guys, I will see you later.